Another topic related to 802.1x is operating modes. How .1x operate? There are different modes. The first one is single mode, either single host. Single host is the only one supplicant can communicate through the port. It means if you are using single host, so only one device is allowed to authenticate and do communication through that Cisco switch port. One authentication of the supplicant is accepted by the authentication server. It means the Cisco ISE will accept only one, and the switch will allow the access on that port for that specific supplicant, either endpoint and device. If the supplicant log off or the port status change, the port become unauthenticated. And if a different supplicant try to access through the same port, it is bi-directional traffic get discarded. The traffic will be discarded. And a port is authorized if there is an authorized client. Only one host can be authorized on the port. It means if you are using single host, it means you say that only one endpoint will be authenticated with this port and they will do communication on this port. If any other PC try to access on the same port and they plug their devices to the same port, so that port will not work. The traffic will be discarded. This is called single host. Let me show you from my topology. Here I have configured .1x on switch 0/1 and my PC is connected here. So let me try one thing, show running interface E0/1. First let me show you the configuration of .1x. These are the things we already know. The thing which I am interested in this command, authentication host mode. So let me go to interface E0/1 and when I paste this and authentication host mode and question mark, so you will see multi-authentication, multi-domain, multi-host and single host. Right now we are discussing single host, and single host mode, it means only single device will be allowed. So if I say single host and let me check again it's enable or not, interface E0/1. So I change the mode that on this interface only one device will be connected, and let me put them interface E0/1. This the command and show running. So it's not showing but it's enabled now. So I say only single device will be connected to this interface. If any other device try to connect on this port, discard the traffic. This the .1x operating mode. The first one is single host. So right now this is my single host connected to this one. So let me authenticate this device. And this the device with, let me see the MAC address of this device. Is 50. Let me take a screenshot, either let me write down here. So the MAC address of this device is 50.01.00.02.00.00. This is the MAC address of this device which I want to authenticate only. So what I can do, let me go to authentication, additional setting, and let me remove the authentication. Okay, cancel, and let me authenticate this device first time on this port. So it's better to disable. It will ask me the username and password to authenticate. Okay, and I will put some authentication detail, username and password. Let's see which user this authenticate. Show authentication session. Yeah, so it's authenticate with this on .1x. Let's see on which user, because I did not put user. maybe they take the old one. So yeah, I take the E1 detail, but it's okay because that was saved before. So E1 is authenticate, and this the MAC address which we already copy, and we have this the MAC address which authenticate because we are using single host. And it should be mentioned here that operating mode host mode is single host, that only single host is allowed on this interface. If somebody else try, we will discard their traffic because we give instruction to this interface that allowed only one device. Now what I can do, I have two choices, either to bring a new device and plug here, and I can change the MAC address so it will become a new device. So for you, I will simply change the MAC address to show you, but you can bring a new device as well to test, by the way. Anyway, if I go to local admin, let me change the MAC address 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So I give them this MAC address, and previous MAC address was something else, and it will authenticate again. And let's see what will happen. So here you see now they say that security violation on the interface, a new MAC address with this one, and session authentication unassigned, and we change the port to down. What they done, show authentication session interface E0/1 detail. No session match because what they done, let me show you from here. Show error disable interface, show error disable. There is a command, show error disable, sorry, show interface error disable, show interface error disable, sorry, interface, show interface status. I can show you from here as well, by the way. Here is this is our interface, and it say the status is error disable. There is another command, sometime I skip from my mind, show error disable recovery, by the no, not recovery, show interface status error disable. This is the correct command. So now they say that a device which was connected to 0/1 with Windows 10 nodes is the name, the status is error disable, and security violation occur. Why? Because this is like a different device. The device which they have the record for the same MAC address is changed. So it's a new device, and we say that the operating mode is single host. It means allowed only single device on this interface. And if another device connected, discard the traffic and put the port in error disable. And that's why they put this port in error disable. And because show interface E0/1 detail, show running interface E0/1, because we put the we put the host mode to single host, and it's also mentioned here, this one, operating host mode is single host. So if another device try to connect, it will be discard, and that's why our port is now an error disable. Let's go to another mode, is multi-host mode. Another mode is multi-host mode. Multi-host mode allow connection of multi-host to a single port. Now multiple system can connect, and multiple endpoint and supplicant can connect, and end device can connect onto a single port. Only the first supplicant has to authenticate, and the subsequent host have network access without the need of authentication. It means the first one has to authenticate and rest of the devices will authenticate automatically and they can access the resources. It means we can use multi-host mode when we want to connect hub or wireless devices to our Cisco port. A port is authorized if there is at least one authorized client. It means one authorized client is required, rest of them will authenticate. And most of the time we use them where wireless LAN controller is connected and either hub or switch is connected to our host. So the first device has to authenticate and then the rest of them will be authenticated automatically. And if we go here, so we discuss single host. Single device is connected to the switch port. And if we click here, check here, so single host means only one client can connect to .1x enable port and one MAC address is allowed. The second which we are now discussing is multi-host. Allowed multiple hosts useful for access point. Yeah, we already say, and unlimited MAC address is allowed. So this is multi-host. The switch port is connected to hub, either access wireless LAN controller, and these are the devices. One device has to authenticate, rest of them will authenticate automatically. So now what we can do, let's check out this one. So there are two possible solutions. Let me bring the port again and I can connect another switch as well to this port. Either we can test them here. Let me change now first. So 0/1 authentication host mode. This time I say that multi-host. So I change and shut down because the port was shut down previously, and then no shutdown to bring them up. Okay, so now the port is up. Okay, and now let's connect this device first. So it will connect. By the way, there will be no issue because now we can connect multiple devices. Only one device has to authenticate, and I hope so it's authenticate and let's get the IPS. And let's check out show authentication session, and you see it say that the AAA is connected with .1x and is authenticated. If I say interface E0/1 detail, so here you will see more detail. This is the MAC address which we change, and this is the IP address which is get. This is the username E1 and the port is authorized. And the thing which we are discussing is this one, operating host mode is multi-host. So it means multi-host can connect on the same port. Let me change the MAC address and see. It will not block them. If I go to, if I click on properties and let me change the MAC address this time to something else. Let's go to this one and let me make them 2 the last digits. There will be no issue and it will authenticate as well. And let's check out again the same command and we can do show authentication session. So now this time, okay, still showing the old one and now it's done. Okay, it's connected. Yeah, so the old record is also there. It has to show me the new one. Let's see. I changed the MAC address or not? Yes, 12. So session. By the way, it has to show me 2 session, but for some reason it's better to connect 2 different system and switch. But anyway, it's give me an access. By the way, let's check out interface E0/1 detail. Okay, the user is similar, so that's the reason. So what I can do, let me change the user as well, NC, and here I would say replace username with the test and this time C1 and password is abc@12345. Let's check out. This time I want to connect C1 and there will be no issue. It will also authenticate and they will allow them as well. Because it's a multi-host can connect. Only one has to authenticate. So in that case, if a switch is connected, right now I'm connected to the same. By the way, you can connect switch and then connect to PC. But anyway, let's check out right now. Okay. And show authentication session. So it's showing me the old one, only the one authentication, but not showing me the rest of authentication because it's required only the first authentication, which is already done. Even though I'm connected with the different, if we go to ISE, so it will show you. If we go to ISE and let's see, because it's required only one authentication and that authentication is already done with E1. So that's why when I try, even though I am connected now, let's see, I'm connected with this network and it's okay. I can access all the thing, but it's showing me only the previous record only. Because it's required only one. Yes, if I clear this authentication, it will show me the next authentication. You get what I'm saying? Because in multi-host, only one authentication is required and that one is already present, the previous one. Even I change the MAC address 12, but it's showing me the old one. It said this guy's authenticate is enough for us. Now you can authenticate as many you want. So it's dangerous as well, by the way, because it will not ask them to authenticate. Only one has to be authenticated. So keep in mind, this is a bit dangerous as well in some environment. Other device will be allowed as well. Only one authentication is required. The best approach to show you this, it will take time. I think so you get the idea. If I remove this Windows system and connect switch here, and this switch I connect window 10 and another window 10, and I authenticate one device, so that will be authenticate, and then when I connect another will also be authenticate and it will be allowed. Even it's connected to the same port, because we are using multi-host mode. And I told you that multi-host allow connection of multiple hosts to a single port. Only the first supplicant has to authenticate, which is authenticate in our case. This is our first supplicant, 112. And I change the MAC address and let me change them to third one. Again, it's not an issue. It will authenticate, it will not make an issue. So let me go to network and configure, and let me change for a third time another MAC address. It's like a third system I connect. And if I click OK, it will authenticate and it will work without any restriction. So it's attempting to authenticate because it's a multi-host. So the first one is already authenticated. It will not discard the traffic and it will say it's okay. So multi-host, yes, connected. Again, I'm getting 10 range IP because this time I'm using C1. And the user which already is connected to this one, maybe it's his 20 IP. Sorry, it's also 10. E1. Because it's a multi-host, so the first authentication is there, so we don't need anything else. And we can connect multiple devices now. And this is my third device I connect with different MAC address. Keep in mind, this is the new system. Just consider them 1.3 and 1.2 is already there. And 1.1 is already authenticated. So you get what I'm saying. This is called multi-host authentication. And subsequent hosts have network access without the need to authenticate. Normally we use WinHub and wireless, and I show you from here. So multi-host unlimited MAC address is required, and multi-host here is the concept. In my case, without this hub, I connect this PC, then I change the MAC address to second, then third. It's okay and it's connected. Only one authentication is required. Let's go to the third mode, is multi-domain mode. This was multi-host. This is multi-domain. Keep in mind, it's a different thing. Multi-domain can authenticate two source MAC addresses. One for voice, keep in mind. One for voice and another for data VLAN. One for voice, another for data. This multi-mode can be used where you have voice over IP phone and where PC is connected to voice over IP phone. It means you are using one port where your PC is connected, sorry, your voice over IP phone is connected. Normally you will see an organization this one. And then we connect our PC to our voice over IP phone. Any more source MAC address is triggered security violation. Same like a host mode, it will trigger. If you connect two voice, again it will disconnect. If you connect two data interfaces, two data devices, it will trigger the security violation. Keep in mind in multi-domain. So multi-domain is different than multi-host. It allowed both host and voice over IP phone to be connected. It means two MAC address for different domain, from voice and data, not both from data, not both from voice. You get what I'm saying? Let me show you. And this is multi-domain. Voice over IP phone, and you are connected your data device. But if I connect like this, it will discard the traffic. And if I connect like this, again it will give an error. So let's go to change the mode first. So configuration interface E0/1, and what was the command? This was. So let me change them to multi-domain. Yeah, this we discuss question mark. So we discuss multi-host and we discuss single host. Now I'm interested in multi-domain. So I change the mode, and let's verify first. Show interface E0/1. So now the mode is multi-domain. Only one voice and only one data is to be show IP interface brief. Only one has to be allowed. Right now the port is down because one is connected and another is trying. So let me bring them up. It's shut down and no shutdown. So first it will allow this PC 113. So let's check out show authentication session. So this time it's allowed 13, yeah, from which the first device is connected from data domain. And if you see in more detail interface E0/1 detail, so right now I'm using multi-domain and one PC is connected from data. Let me connect another PC also from data. So let me change the MAC address, and it's also data, not a voice. So what will happen? No, it will not work. Let me make them 10 suppose. And let's try. It will allow no. There will be trigger and they will block me. Yeah, here is. They say security violation. The same case in single host. Show interface error disable. Show interface status error disable. Look at now, they bring down the interface and error disable, and they shut down the interface, and it's mentioned here security violation. Why? Because we are using second PC or supplicant and endpoint of data, and it's not allowed. It has to be multi-domain, one from voice, one from data, and I connect both of data. Even if you connect both of voice, again it will down. So you get the idea what is means by multi-domain. So multi-domain means you need to connect from different domain, multiple domain, one from voice, one from data. If both are data, the interface will shut down. It will trigger the security violation. If both from voice, again the interface will down. And I show you I connected two interfaces from data. But keep in mind, in multi-host, there was no such concept. I connected many PC and no issue. Only one PC need to be authenticated, rest of them no issue. So more secure is multi-domain then, if your environment is PC and voice or IP phone. And multi-domain only two MAC address, one from each data and voice. And if I show you from here, the scenario will be like this one. Now coming to the last one is multi-authentication mode. So let me change the authentication. First I need to bring the interface E0/1 and let me change this to multi-authentication. Let me show you from here. Question mark. The last one is multi-authentication. And enter. I will bring them up after a while. Let me discuss first. So multi-authentication can authenticate multiple source MAC address. You can use this when switch port is connected to another switch. Each source MAC address is separately authenticated. Okay, that's great. Again, in multi-authentication, allow one voice and multiple data client. Only one voice and multiple data you can connect, but every PC has to authenticate separately. What does this means? You know, in multi-authentication and multi-host. And multi-host, what happened? Only the first one we authenticate, and rest of them it was not showing us. It was authenticate automatically. You remember that one, yeah? But here the scenario has changed. Every PC has to authenticate again and again. It's not like a first time we authenticate and rest of them will authenticate. No. And that scenario will be multiple authentication. So multi-host and multi-authentication is connectivity is similar. But keep in mind, and I want to clear this point, multi-host means the first PC authenticate, the rest of them will authenticate automatically and no issue. But in multi-authentication, every PC has to authenticate separately. This will authenticate, the third will authenticate, the fourth one separately authenticate. Not like a multi-host. Let me clear to you. Let me go to, and I change the multi-authentication, and let me bring the interface shut down, and let me no shut down. So now I change show running interface E0/1. So I change the mode to multi-authentication, that every PC when they are trying to connect, they have to provide the authentication separately to authenticate. Not like a multi-host, so that only one PC authenticate and rest them authenticate automatically. No. So now let's check out what I can do. Clear authentication session. Let me clear the previous one and let me authenticate the first PC. Disable and let me enable. And what is the MAC address? It will authenticate first, and then when I change the MAC address, another will authenticate again. So let's see now what is the 10. So let's see show authentication session, and where is show authentication session only. Yeah, so it's authenticate with this MAC address. Now let me change the MAC address. What do you think? Like a multi-domain, it will allow me. Yes, it will allow me, but it will re-authenticate separately. Let me change the MAC address to 11. Either make them 22. It's better to make them 20. So 10 and 20. Now this PC will authenticate separately. It will allow, no issue. And let's see, there will be 2 now. You remember in the case of this one, now I hope so you get the idea. In the case of multi-host, only first one was showing. Because they say that this one is authenticated, I don't need to authenticate rest of them. And that's why it was not showing. Now it's showing me. If I make a third one, it's okay. You can connect multiple data and one voice. And if I change the MAC address to third one, again they need to authenticate separately. And let me change them to suppose 30 this time. Now this device will be third time separately authenticate. Look at to 10, 20 and 30. All of them as data, it's okay. Multiple data is allowed, but every PC has to provide their authentication separately to authenticate. It's not like a multi-host that only one device authenticate and rest of them it's okay. No. Again multiple allowed. You get, even if I 4, 5, I can do as much I want, because it's and you check the table, and multi-authentication is also unlimited MAC address, same like a multi-host unlimited. But there was scenario different, here scenario is different. So this one is will be authenticated separately, this one, but here only one need to be authenticated and multi-host. So keep in mind the difference between multi-host and multi-authentication. Last thing, let's go to theoretically. So single host, only one MAC address is allowed, and second MAC address cause security violation. And the command we put authentication host mode single host. And when single PC, a second PC connect, so it will discard and the port will generate security violation, which we check out. In multi-host mode, first MAC address has to authenticate. So the first MAC address is authenticate, and second endpoint is piggyback on first MAC address authentication and bypass authentication. Yes. So the first PC authenticate and rest of them will use the first authentication method, and they will also connect without any restriction. No, nothing, no authentication, no separate authentication like this one. Only one is required, and we check this one as well. And that one is called authentication host mode multi-host. You need to type this command if you need such type of scenario. Then we check multi-domain mode. Here the scenario is each domain voice and data authenticate one MAC address. Second MAC address on each domain cause security violation. So one in multi-domain mode, the command is authentication host mode multi-domain. One endpoint can connect from voice and one can connect from data. If two are connected from voice, so there will be security violation. If two are connected from data, again there will be security violation. And you connect one from data, and you need to connect another from data, so it will cause the security violation. But from voice, it's okay. So this is called multi-domain, voice and data. And then we discuss multi-authentication. Voice domain authenticate one MAC address. For voice, only one is allowed. For data domain authenticate multiple MAC addresses. And the command is authentication host mode multi-auth. And this is what we are using right now. So I authenticate multiple 3 devices separately. Everyone has to authenticate separately, not to use the previous one. Like in this case, this piggyback, they were using the previous authentication to authenticate itself. So it's not like that one. That's it. So these were the different mode, either you can say operating mode, and it's mentioned here when you check in detail interface E0/1 detail. So it's mentioned here operating host mode. This time I'm using multi-authentication. Okay, and it's authorized for this MAC address. This is the interface detail. IPv6 we don't have. This is the IP address. This is the username. Status is authorized. This is the data domain. Okay, and operation control, this both, and session timeout detail, restart timeout detail, and this the time session uptime, common session ID, this the session ID. Normally it's mentioned the MAC address detail and IP addresses detail as well sometime when you convert them. And current policy, these are the policy which is get, and this the method which they are using, and because we are connected 3, so it's showing all those 3 detail. So these were the 802.1x operating mode.